Hi y'all, I just wanted to offer a really quick verbal explanation to supplement the information that you'll find in your readings this week on exploratory versus argumentative. The research essay brainstorm is going to have a breakdown of these two things as well, and there is a supplemental reading found in the FYI section where you can learn more about the differences, but this is just kind of like my explanation between exploratory versus argumentative. Whenever I was first considering this assignment for you all, really I wanted to focus in on exploratory. However, I also didn't really want to eliminate the possibility of argumentative because I think that the majority of future essays you'll write in English 112, if you're in the transfer program and have to take that class, are argumentative, and so I wanted to give you the opportunity to work with that if you wanted to. But I definitely want to stress the importance and merit of the exploratory research paper because it puts you in a position to say, maybe I'm not really sure how I feel. Maybe I just need more information right now, and in order to have an argument later, I might just need to explore a topic right now. So I really would encourage you all to consider first an exploratory essay. I imagine that over the course of your writing careers, if you want to think of it like that, you've been asked to write a persuasive essay at least once or twice. And I feel like it's probably, at this point, if you don't intend to go into journalism or use persuasive language in the bulk of your career in the future, that you've probably got enough of what you need for persuasive writing. But to really kind of sit with a question for a while and explore it is something that I don't think students are given enough opportunity to do. So I would, again, encourage you to pick this one first, and if you're not sure, then or if there's something you would rather write about that is argumentative, do it. Okay, so an exploratory essay, exploratory research, explores a topic in detail, really in order to inform. And you might have a hypothesis or a guess on where your research is going to lead you, and you might have a guess on even where your research is going to lead your ideas on a subject so that you can eventually argue about them, but you are still open-minded and you're still approaching the topic with a question of, do I really know all sides of this topic? Do I really know all sides of the story? Exploratory research does not single out one side of the research in order to support your hypothesis. It really is a version of inquiry, in which case you don't really know the answer, but you want to learn more about the topic. And so you don't just pick one side of the coin to research. You look at all sides of the coin, because not only do you not have the answers, your reader doesn't either, and you assume that about your reader, that they are also wondering the same question that you are wondering, and they also don't have the information, and so you are there to present that information to them. And so an example topic that I have that's really kind of very low-key and non-controversial, from my guesstimation, is regarding license plates. So if I were writing an exploratory paper, and this is honestly something that I've thought about before, when did license plates become required for cars? I really don't know the answer to that question, and I'm wondering what the process was leading up to this requirement. And so I really would just be exploring a historical process, exploring who was the person who first suggested a license plate, why they decided they needed them, and just kind of like questioning this thing that honestly we really probably don't pay too much attention to these days. Like, yes, everyone has a license plate, yes, we have to renew them every year after we get our cars inspected, and some cars need to be inspected in some ways, whereas other older cars can be inspected differently. And of course we know license plates exist, but have we ever really contemplated the history of them? And so maybe an exploratory paper on that subject is something that I would be interested in writing about. So really it situates you as an author in a position of questioning, which is ultimately the whole purpose of inquiry, which is the second part of the title of this course. So I strongly encourage you all to at least consider some topics that you could just explore, where you don't have to have an answer, you just have information. It kind of frees you from the burden of needing to prove something, which is also a really, really nice feeling sometimes. Alright, so then the other option is, of course, argumentative, and I think this one needs the least amount of explanation of what it is, but I think that this is the essay that needs the most help in getting students to a position where they're effective arguers. An argumentative essay is one that's goal is to persuade a reader. So if you are trying to convince someone of something, if you are trying to get them to see your viewpoint on a particular subject or an issue or whatever, then if that is your end goal, and that's been the goal throughout the entire paper from your thesis statement, you're writing an argumentative essay. The thesis will present your opinion. It won't just be a hypothesis, it will be your opinion on a topic, and the whole essay will be working to support that opinion through the use of other opinions, statistics, facts that can help support you. So an example of that, which is I think timely for the season, is Halloween should only be celebrated on the weekends, regardless of whether it is October 31st or not. Obviously the word should in here is pretty indicative of a persuasive essay. So if I were to write this, which I'm not certain this is my viewpoint, just an example, if I were to write this, I would be trying to convince you, my reader, why Halloween should only be celebrated on the weekends. The exploratory version of this would be an essay maybe considering maybe the history of Halloween, although not all exploratory essays are history based. But it could consider the history of Halloween. It could provide some Halloween statistics and maybe ask questions about safety on Halloween and how families are able to celebrate Halloween if it falls on, say, like a Wednesday or Thursday or something like that, what that does to students the next day, and not necessarily in order to make any kind of argument, but just to give information. And so that's really at the fundamental level, I think, the difference between an argumentative and an exploratory. An argumentative essay seeks to persuade, whereas an exploratory essay seeks to inform. Exploratory essays ask a question and find answers to that question, whereas argumentative essays already have an answer to a question and they're trying to get other people to see why their answer is the right answer. So that's the difference. If you guys have questions, let me know in your brainstorms. I'll be able to kind of see where you're at on this, and then of course feel free to send me an email if you need any help at all distinguishing between the two.